Hi guys, my name is Gannon and welcome to my YouTube channel where I create content about content marketing and I also share my recent journey of going self-employed. In this video, I'm going to share with you how I repurpose Ali Abdaal's content. If you're not familiar with Ali, he has a YouTube following of over 1 million subscribers. So Ali has a full-time team doing incredible things and helping him to churn out his YouTube videos. And I help them and play a really small part in repurposing his YouTube content across social media. So making 1 to 2 minute video clips which promotes his videos. So this video today is going to be an explainer of how I go about that process from start to finish. So let's jump in and I hope this helps you with your own content.
Okay, so the editing software that I use is called Final Cut Pro, but in this video we're going to be mainly focusing on the process which I've refined, and we're going to be focusing on the components of the different elements of that process. So whether you're using Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, which is free editing software, iMovie or anything else, we're going to just focus on the components. So on Final Cut, you can kind of zoom out a little bit. I've actually taken a 5-minute snippet of a podcast Ali was on, and it's really good to focus on recording podcasts and being a guest on podcasts, or even actually asking someone, you know, let's jump on a call for an hour and can you ask me 5 to 10 questions? Because in this Q&A format, it's really easy to make clips from. Because if you imagine, if you sat down for an hour to talk about a whole range of topics, you could probably make 10 to 15 video clips very easily. And this again is the power of video, which is focusing on pillar content, which is creating videos. Creating the written version would be creating a blog, writing a blog, and then the audio version would be a podcast where you can chop up, 1 to 2 hours of a podcast audio and make so many snippets. Actually, at this stage is actually one thing you could do potentially which would make it even more efficient, and that is using the tool called Descript. So if you are going to just drop in the raw file, chances are when you're listening to it through, the person talking, whether that's you or a client or whoever you're editing this video for to make clips, chances are they're going to have some they're going to repeat themselves and things like that. So typically if you're editing, you would go through and you would just pick out those moments and you would kind of cut them and just clean it up a little bit. But I want to just show you the tool Descript, because firstly, I actually take this video file, I drop it into Descript to remove filler words, and then I drop that file into Final Cut, which I'll show you how to do now. Okay, so as you can see, the video has been imported into Descript and we've got an option to transcribe the file. But as you can see at the bottom here, you actually, and I do know people who do this, you can be making your clips directly in Descript. All I'm going to do for this process is going to go to the top here. I'm going to hit remove filler words, and it already comes up with delete, and I'm going to apply it to all. So we're going to delete 33 filler words, which is actually quite good. Usually if that was me, I've probably about 200 million times. So what's amazing with Descript is it transcribes the audio and you can basically edit video as if it's text. So say for example, Ali stumbled his words here at the first sentence. You can actually delete that and it will delete that component of the video. And it's so much easier to delete text than it is to delete video. I'm basically going to just export this new version of the video where the filler words have been removed. So from using Descript in this process, I found it saves me about 1 to 2 hours because I haven't got to edit out the and the sort of gaps in audio. And that always helps because once you kind of identify where your clips are, if they're already quite clean, it just saves a lot of time. Right now at this stage of the process, I'm literally going to export the timeline into the editing software that I use, which is Final Cut. Okay, so now we're going to listen to the clip. I'm going to just basically use the keyboard shortcut, which if you just press the button L, is actually going to speed up the clip. You can do this in any editing software. So basically going to leave a marker at the start of when Ali talks, and we're going to actually name that what the question was. So we're going to basically leave a marker for what we want the start of the clip to be, and in here, we're actually going to write what the question was, which is our first iteration of what the title might be. Then we're going to use the blade tool, which is B on Final Cut, and basically we're going to cut everything before that. The start of the clip is just basically going to be the question. So this is going to be the rough ending of the clip. So if you press Alt W on Final Cut, and you can do anything like this on any editing software again, this is the first clip which we've done here. And then this is going to be the next part of the interview. The question's been asked. Where does he start his answer? Okay, cool. This is going to become second nature. You can basically listen to the clip in its entirety once, just basically make these markers of what the clips could be. Then we're going to have here on this marker for the second clip what that title was. And you want to think about with your titles, you can obviously change them in the future, but think about the target audience here. So I'm going to say, why should you optimize your revision? Question mark. Now, when you've got these rough clips, these rough sections, which could be videos, you want to go in and you want to think, okay, what is the best moment to start on for this clip? So for example, Ali himself calls these fire moments. So what is the best parts of this clip? Because it might be the case that not all of it is needed. So after you've done your first iterations of your clips, you've got this one here, which is going to be one clip. This is going to be a clip as well. There may actually be individual clips in a clip. So you might find that this part of the answer is actually capturing the intention more, is more appealing. Equally as well, there might be a part of the clip which was really nice and captures attention. You might actually want to drop that at the start of the clip to pique people's interests. So you could always break up that little bit there and you could drag that to the front of the clip to pique people's interest at the start. So they're going to be, oh wow, like what's this clip about? And then they're going to be actually watching the end of the clip and then they come to where that point was. So you would just basically just drop it back into where it was at the end. Okay, cool. So let's imagine that this first part is our clip. We're going to copy this clip and we're going to make a new project to start to build out our template. That you want to be doing upfront work, which is just a sunk cost, which you only have to do once. So we want to actually make templates, which are the social media templates, the meme bars as it's called, where you have a title at the top, you have space for subtitles at the bottom, and you maybe also have a progress bar. So we're going to make two versions. We're going to make a portrait template and we're going to make a square template. And then I'm going to show you a tool called Subly, which just makes this so much quicker. So I'm going to first call this Ali portrait template. And then we're going to go on to custom and we're going to change this to a portrait style, which is 1080 by 1920. And then we're going to hit OK. And as I already have the clip copied, you can then just basically take one clip for now to build out your template. And then later on afterwards, you just drop in, whenever you make a clip, you'll just drop it into this template, which you can always open up. So as you can see here in this window to the side, we have the clip in landscape mode here in the middle. And then we have this space at the top and we have the space at the bottom. So these dimensions is typically what you would see for Instagram TV, which is portrait, also YouTube Shorts, and also other things like TikTok as well are in a portrait mode. I personally have found it so much easier to build out your template in portrait mode because as you have this space at the top and the bottom, you can then easily trim the aspect ratio. You can trim the design that you've made to make that 1080 by 1080 square. And that's what I'm going to show you in this video. So if you're new to video editing, basically in your timeline, you have different things called layers. So we've actually dropped the color at the top of the layer, which means it's going to be on top of the video. So we actually want it to be behind the video, which means we're going to put it underneath. Just grab this color solid all the way to the end of the clip, and you can just make sure it snaps on and it's the same length by zooming in like that. And just remember, this is the template we're building, so this work that you're doing now is just going to be done once. So personally, we're going to just go for a simple white color. So we're going to just change this color to white. And you can actually have a design here. So you can make something in Canva or Figma, and you can have a pattern or a texture, which you'd basically just drop into your timeline as an image. And then you just make sure that the image is either completely behind. So say it's portrait, it's in itself and it's behind. Or you could always drop in the image just above and below and have like a pattern or a texture. For easiness in this template, I'm going to just show you a white background here. And then the next thing we're going to do is have text at the top. So we're going to just press Control and T to get a title, or alternatively, you can always drop a title here at the top from the drop down. So again, we're going to just drag the title all the way to the end, which is snapped to the end, which is great. And now we're going to move the title to the top of the clip so it's easy to read. So with the title of the clips, we want to pique people's interest, we want to capture attention, and also we want to make it of interest to the viewer. So not just talking about this person in isolation, but actually considering how the message of the clip is more powerful for those watching it. So instead of this being the clip, we could actually have this called follow what you're interested in. So then we can change the font. So I'm going to either do this font here, or we're going to go for Inter, which I know Ali likes and it's on brand, so let's go for Inter here. We're going to make it bold and we're going to change the position of it and the size as well. Actually, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the color. So we're going to go onto face, we're going to hit show. And for this clip, let's just go for either like a black or like a dark gray, just to give you guys a color which is going to be quite prominent on the white background. So it's important to have the title above the clip because then you can trim the portrait clip into that square which we spoke about. So I'm going to make this smaller, and I'm going to play around with the line spacing to just make that look a bit nicer. And then we're going to drop it in, make sure it's central and just above the clip. So something like that, which you can play and just see how that looks. And then sometimes people would actually manually subtitle clips. So basically do the exact same thing, and they'll take a title and they will basically start to manually write how the subtitles look and what is being said. That is far too long. I'm going to show you a much better process for doing subtitling. So for now, and in this clip, we're basically going to just leave color, a block color, or you could have your design or your texture. But underneath the clip, we're going to leave the subtitles out for now, and we're going to export. Before I do that, I want to show you how to do a progress bar, which is very simple as well. Okay, so now I want to show you how to sort out the progress bar. So basically the blue rectangle, which we had initially, I've basically copy and pasted it and added a second one underneath, which is grey, just because I think grey is a nice color to, in this circumstance, to contrast with the white. So select what other color you want your progress bar to be. Select the start of the clip. Select the layer, press crop. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be cropping the progress bar in. So you're going to go onto where it is here, and you're going to place this at the start of the clip just so it's off the screen, which looks to be about there. If you go onto full screen,
I guess when you're...
So yeah, you can't see it there, which is perfect. And then basically you want to select it again, bring up the crop button, which you were just on. And basically you want to add a keyframe, which is basically saying that you're adding a keyframe that is off the screen. Then you want to click off that. I like to press the down space button to get to the end of the clip. Press the left space, just go one frame inwards, and you'll have another option to add a frame. So select it again. Go on to crop again, as you can see I've already got. And basically you're going to be selecting the second keyframe to be where it's off the screen on the right. So you basically want it to, as the clip ends, that the progress bar will go off to the right all the way. So I'm going to go just a little bit extra just to make sure that's the case. And then if you do press left space in, so right now I can't make a frame. If you go one frame in, you can make a frame. So you're going to press plus there, and then you're going to hit done. As you go through the clip, the blue rectangle is going to come in from the start to the end, and that's your progress bar. And also what you can do is I like to match the color of the progress bar to highlight some of the text which we want to stand out in the title. You select that color, go on to your title, and you might want to just select some of the words, maybe some of the end words, just to make them that color as well. A key principle of repurposing is to make your content go as far as possible. So across social media, portrait versions are going to really be helpful for things like IGTV, TikTok, YouTube stories, which has just been released, and also for stories across other socials like your Facebook stories and LinkedIn. And then the square dimension is going to be typically what you use in the feed. So on Facebook in the feed, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and on Twitter. So this is just a 1080 by 1080 square, or the kind of 1:1 aspect ratio. Alternatively, you could also have instead of a 1:1 square, a 4:5 sort of grid, which is actually also another dimension which you can use for Instagram. But for easiness, I just recommend that you build your template first, like we've done for portrait. And then you can make your square version by basically just duplicating this project and then selecting or modifying the ratio to be the 1080 by 1080, which you can do here, or you can select square there. And then you're going to just move around the title just so it positions itself nicely. So now I'm going to show you a tool called Subly, which we're going to use to subtitle our video clips, but also you're going to see how Subly's aspect ratio feature is game changing. Because previously in this process, I used to do exactly this. I'd have a portrait template, I'd have a square template, I'd also have that 4:5 template for the Instagram feed. You'll chop up your interview, your podcast, your video, and you'll chop those clips up into the templates, which is great. But if you wanted a portrait version and a square version, you'd have to do, for example, you'd have to put your 15 video clips into your portrait template. You'd have to put your 15 video clips into your square template. And that would mean that in total, you're having to subtitle the same clip, but you're gonna have to subtitle the portrait version and then the square version. I'm going to show you why I love Subly so much, and it's mainly because you can choose how the subtitles look on the screen, you can choose the positioning, and most recently the feature to change the aspect ratio of your clip. Okay, so as you can see here, we've got the clip and we're going to upload and we're going to transcribe. So Subly is super quick to upload, and as you can see here, you can actually upload just pure audio versions of your clip to get a subtitle file. But if you do focus on videos, even if you're doing an interview over Zoom, you may as well capture those visuals as well. Okay, so the video has uploaded, and just like with making your template, from a bit of trial and error, this part is going to be so simplified because you can literally just go in and you can select the font which you want, the size of the font. So I like to do 40. I know that it's bold, and you know, this is just from trial and error, which I know I've kind of thought about how I want this to look. And then the custom margins, and then you can choose where the subtitles appear, which is one of the biggest limitations of other tools. So I know, for example, that that's how I like things to look. Then at the top here, you can actually, on the free plan, I think you might keep the watermark there, but I've got the pro plan because this literally saves me so much time. It's just a no-brainer in terms of paying for that. But you can actually import a logo. So you could actually have your logo at the top here. You could have your logo on the screen, basically anywhere. You know, you can choose the positioning, the size of it, which is really cool to kind of brand up your video. So Subly's actually moved from just being a tool for uploading video clips to, you can also make this headline, which we previously made obviously in Final Cut, but you can actually make that in Subly, and you can choose whether it appears for the first 5 seconds or for the full duration, the font, the positioning. So personally, like I said, you know, we could actually chop up our video clips in Descript as well. I just personally like using Final Cut because I know that I kind of find it slightly easier. However, you could very much easily just copy this text at the top. So if you think about that, all you actually would need to do is just drop the video clip into a portrait dimension to make these types of clips. So at the top here, we're going to go on to download, and we're going to download our portrait version. So you get the option to either download your subtitles as an SRT file, which you can usually add to in a video when you're uploading it on social media platforms like LinkedIn, or you can download the text file, which is why I love using Subly, because this is can be the first iteration of your social media copy. And also, if you're looking to have this bit of content, like this 2-minute video, this 1-minute video, of course, there's going to be loads of tweets that you could use. You could take the transcript and create tweet storms. Or if the video was about my 5 ways to be more productive, you could take those 5 ways and turn it into a carousel. So we're going to download this here, and then this is the text file, which you should download with your videos, and you can literally edit this text, and this will usually be the first iteration for the social media post. And then there is a part of strategy where you need to think about, okay, so how does an Instagram post look like in comparison to a tweet? Or what's the difference, and how are people using Facebook nowadays in comparison to LinkedIn? And I'm going to also download a square version, and you'll see how that looks now. So in Subly, we can just go to download at the top. We can select square, and we already have the text file, so we don't need to download that. Then, as you can see, we've got our square version, and because we formatted the clip with the title positioning, and we've thought about where the subtitles are being positioned with Subly, we also have a really nice optimized piece of content which looks really nice and aesthetic. We could have a pattern or a texture, we could change the white background in the future. You know, there's so much to play with. We could change the font to the subtitles, and that's your process from start to finish. And I'm going to make loads more videos on my channel about repurposing. You can really produce social media content at a frequency which is going to get you results.
So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it's been really useful to see how I repurpose Ali Abdaal's YouTube content across social media. I hope it's given you ideas on how you can focus on long form videos and how you can chop those up across social. And if there's anything you've missed out, check the description box because they may have a link to a resource or a video in there as well. Please subscribe for more videos just like this.